Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another talk here at Relationary about relationship matters. Today's talk is going to be about how to grow our love. Sometimes we feel like we love someone, we feel like we have enough love, but apparently so many people that we've taken for granted our loves to them or their loves to us, and then we find out a bit too late in the game that was not enough. So this is a proactive way to increase and using practical tips on how to increase our love. Stick around. All right, so one of the things, so today is going to be a discussion. So you guys feel free to ask questions. You can ask online or you can ask in person. If you're shy about both, you can just pass on the paper. I'm more than happy to address your questions regardless. If you are online and you feel like you don't want to disclose your name or anything about any questions that you've shared with us here, we invite you to come in here. This talk is open for the public. You can come in person or you can do it online live at your comfort of your home. So the things that we can do, I mean, the idea behind this talk is really a more proactive way to prevent or to reduce tension in any relationship. So you can bring in this sense of love in your relationship, within your siblings, within your parents, within your children, and of course your partners and loved ones in your personal life. So one of the things that is, I have a few things to discuss and to present for everybody. Any thoughts of anything that you guys want me to focus on, if you would like to share?
None, but I quite like this topic.
Okay, I'm glad you like it.
Because we may think we have enough love, but what is enough love? What is too much love? I don't.
Right.
I'm very interested.
Right. That's very good. I'm glad to hear that. Any other thoughts or anyone would like to share? All right, so I want to go ahead and start. If you have any thoughts in the middle of it, just let me know. I'm more than happy to see how I can address your concern or question or comment. Okay, so this is basically coming from the merit of that you have control to bring that love in your relationship. Sometimes we feel like we're not loved, right? And sometimes we feel like I'm loving the other person, but they're not loving me back. If you guys are familiar with the love language and all that, this is one way to present different types of loves, but it's not really limited to that. It can go beyond that. So someone can show their love by words, by gifts, by doing a service, right? By words of affirmation. It could be a lot of things, right? So in order for you to, if you felt like you're not being loved or you don't have that love from the other person, you can initiate that kind of behavior of showing love to the other person. It could be that they're not showing, quote unquote, the love that you feel like that makes you feel loved, is because they're also don't feel loved from your side. So therefore, they're assuming that you're just kind of sharing and telling them what to expect in this kind of loving relationship. So therefore, they're doing exactly what you're doing. If you're criticizing, they criticize, or they just make sure that they don't make any mistakes. So therefore, instead of criticizing, catch them in doing something nice. I mean, for example, if you're let's say that your younger sibling or older sibling is nosy or keeps bugging you and all that, and you keep telling them how much space you want, how much privacy you want and all that, but they're not really listening per se. So therefore, you can catch them doing something nice, like once they knocked before they opened the door on you. So it's like, oh, I really appreciate it. So you need to kind of highlight what's happening. Okay. So you kind of need to highlight that kind of behavior as something you like. So in order for, yeah.
Is it about treat people the way you want to be treated, or is it about you give and don't expect? What is it?
It's a very good question. So is it about treating others like you be treated, or then expecting back? This is a bit different than both of these areas, because these two areas is really what's causing maybe the other person not showing you the love, because you're giving them the messages that if you're saying treat others like you want to be treated, they're thinking that by you not saying anything that you love them, then they don't need to say that you love them. If you're treating them in a sense that you're doing services, but what services your spouse can do, no matter what your spouse can do, for example, or your friend, they're probably doing the wrong thing or something that you don't like. So therefore you interpret it wrongly. So they're always guessing, you're always receiving the wrong message. So that doesn't really work here. And that's not what it's about. It's about really proactively doing the right thing that nurtures love in your relationship. And that's really what helps love grows. Like if you have a plant, if you're into gardening and you have a plant in the backyard or in the front yard or in your balcony, whatever the case might be, you can't just leave it there and take it for granted that it's going to be green and giving you, I don't know, what kind of plants out there do you guys have? Like oranges, I know, they're flowers, right? You don't expect it to just grow flowers on its own. So you need to give it the right environment, which is the soil, the light, the wind, that temperature, all that stuff, as well as nurturing it with some water. And some people talk to their plants. I'm not here to judge. Yes?
I've heard as well that the more you give love to the plant, the more it grows beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, the more positive affirmation you give to anything around you, apparently it kind of, like we did the experiment of rice. We did the experiment of, we saw the experiment of rice in YouTube. That do you find it? We have a technical issue here. So we will try to upload the recording if there is anything got cut off. So we have, there's in Japan, I think it was, or somewhere in East Asia, that they have started this experiment about saying words of love to the rice and saying hate to the other kind of rice. So the two containers, one container got really infected with bacteria and the other one was really healthy at the same time. Yeah, you can look it up in YouTube. It's a really good video to watch. But so therefore you are the one who is initiating that. So this is within your power. So something that you can do. So you can catch that person in your relationship that you want to grow love in doing something good. And then you can highlight, it's like, I really love how you did that. I really appreciate what you did. So give them a genuine compliment about something that they did, something that they have accomplished. So you're acknowledging them. That kind of opens that door as like, I'm really important to this person, that they have made some time to share their thoughts about me in a positive sense.
What if that person that's initiating, let's say we need to initiate, what if that person is like shy and like not good at expressing? What would be another way to express their feelings or like love towards their family or the relationship they're having with someone?
So shy in sense, in what sense? Like
In sense, like let's say I feel embarrassed to say to my parents I love them, or I feel embarrassed to do something. Like what would be another act or way to show them so?
Okay, so you can compliment them. You don't have to say I love. I mean, one of the things that you really can nurture the love and you grow love between you and the parents is to say I love you, to get over that hurdle of making you feel embarrassed. And they might listen, maybe that's not the environment that you grow up with, that people don't say I love you, right? And this exists in many families. And we don't grow up really hearing our parents say, it's like, oh, I love you so much. How did you sleep this morning? Actually, what we hear is like, how come you're asleep this late? You're so lazy. How come you're so lazy, right? But that's their way of showing love, that they want you to be up in the morning so you can achieve more. That's how they see life. That's how they see life, and they want you to capture the most out of life. But that's their perspective. But we don't hear it. So therefore, when I come like later in the day and they tell me how come you're late, how come you're stepped in and you're lazy and all that, and then like around lunch, oh, I love you, mommy. You're like, what are you talking about? and they would probably just like, I don't know what's wrong with you today. They're probably, and there's like, what do you need? Just tell me tell it to me. Just say it. Just cut this nonsense and tell me exactly what you need. And that's really important. That's the environment that we're in. But if that happens, it's really understanding how to manage that situation is really important, because that's going to help you be more genuine when you say that word, I love you. But you don't have to start there, right? You can just say, Mom, I really appreciate you did breakfast for me. I love it. It tastes so wonderful. You can just make it like a normal comment. And the mom might think like, what is wrong with my daughter? Or what's wrong with my son? But she would appreciate it. Deep inside that she would really appreciate those words. Because if the environment is not, it's not accustomed to this kind of communication, you can say, I don't want any, and that's really true also for people who are in relationships. And what I found is also working with couples, studying about couples, working with relationships with parents and children, it can be like years, decades of the relationship, and not word I love you ever existed. Not word of appreciation ever existed. Not even touching sometimes. Touching children, hugging them for whatever reason, doesn't exist in that relationship, and it's gone for 10, 20 years, 30 years, and the children become parents, and guess what? They do one of two things. They do the opposite of what they learned, which is like huggy, lovey-dovey all the time with the children and everyone around them, or they just keep that distance and no huggy, lovey-dovey talking at all. So it's all about balance, really, and it's all about bringing and being mindful of how to nurture this love in the relationship. Yes?
How about between siblings? Like, it's very hard to be lovey-dovey or like compliment or comment or all of that. How can we do this with siblings? I agree.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I can imagine that. Siblings can be very annoying, especially if you're the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I feel like in this sense, it's kind of hard to determine what kind of love another person likes. So I think if you're close to that person and you really want to express your love, it's important to understand like what type of love they like to receive too, and what you like to receive. So the reciprocation is more comfortable in that sense.
And actually, today's talk is beyond that. It's not just about giving them the love that they're expecting. It's really the steps or the little things that you can do to nurture that love, to allow or enable that kind of love to exist. Words of like appreciation. It's not always annoying with the siblings. There has to be some time when things are dandy and lovey, and that's it really depends on how important you want to do this to yourself and in your relationship. But you are in control. If you want to improve that relationship with your siblings, you are in control. No one else is. So you can say how proud you are of them. You're not?
Some of them.
Right, but again, there's not always negative, right? So you need to focus on the positive about the relationship and say it. That's the most important part. So what happens is that because it's so easy to have a conflict with your siblings. It's so easy to have a conflict with your partner, being, dating, fiance, marriage, whatever the case might be. It's really easy to have a conflict or have a fight. Very easy. I can imagine. It would take seconds really to get into a fight. It takes seconds to change a date, a lovely romantic date, to a gigantic fight that will end up in a breakup or a divorce. It really happens that quickly. Because it's easy, we need to be mindful on the efforts that we need to take initiative of. Is your degree in school easy? Did you take the initiative to take the efforts and putting all the efforts and energy? Are you able to accomplish? Of course, same thing. So nurturing your career is no different than nurturing a relationship. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens by appointment. No, I'm just joking. Happiness doesn't happen by accident. It happens by appointment. So that's the worst case scenario, right? When it's not really the worst, but it's actually when things get difficult in a relationship, that's when you need really to do an appointment with a professional. But these are proactive things that you can do to help you before reaching out to a professional to talk about relationships and love and all that stuff. So a word of telling him something that you're proud of, even if they are really, really like so annoying and bullying you all times. If you really want to pass that message to them, you can still do it. And what happens next, I'll get to you shortly. What could happen next is like after you say, I'm so proud of you, like and they might bully you again because of what you said that. Here's the key thing in this relationship. You need to be reminded that you are being truthful to yourself. You need to be reminded that's who you are and that's what you want to focus on. You want to focus on that relationship to grow love, then that's how you do it. And even if they came back and bullied you, believe me, it registered. They heard you, you made a positive change in their mind, and they would think twice before they bully you again. They might bully you, but they would think twice before they do that. I'll get to her and then, yes.
I don't think they think twice.
That's totally possible.
So my younger sister, I haven't seen her in like 2-3 months. She's 4. And then I was like spending the whole day with her. She was really nice. Then I was like, hey, let's have dinner. No, I don't want to have dinner with you. I'm going to sleep now. It's 7 p.m.
Okay.
I don't want to have dinner with you. So it continued for like 30 minutes. I was like, come on, I'll buy you dinner. No, you want beef. No, I just don't want to. Leave me alone. I don't like you.
Yeah.
I started crying because I felt rejected by a 4-year-old.
Yeah, that can be hurtful. Yeah, that
Very hurtful.
Yeah.
How do you nurture something hurtful?
Right.
Breathe, Nisa, breathe.
So in this situation, I can imagine that can be disappointing and that can be, heartbreaking and maybe crushing sometimes because you do have a plan. So think of the ability to do that is like you're growing a physical muscle in your body. It takes time. So now you're carrying a weight of 200 kilos. I'm not going to ask you to do that. But by doing the small things, starting with the 2 kilos or even 1 kilo workouts, you just start to build that muscle of, allowing that love to be nurtured. But you can start with that. We can acknowledge these difficult situations and they do exist. But because we haven't developed that skill to look beyond that disconnect between you and the 4-year-old, then we're stuck on it. I mean, because that's like carrying, as I mentioned, like a 200 kilo or maybe even 500 kilo weight. So therefore, in order for us to get to that, we need to start small. So by starting small, you're really getting used to managing your emotions with the little things. And we can assume that this is a serious big thing that you're not able to manage. Then we can accept that. We're not there yet. And this can happen. But we cannot expect to start today and all the problems will disappear tomorrow or today. It's not going to happen that way. Because this is a skill we are developing just like we are developing a muscle in our body. It takes time. It takes commitment. It takes also perseverance, but the whole thing is really about you. You're gonna be able to see how much love that you have for yourself and how much you are really presenting yourself for who you are. You're not reacting to their rejection. You're not reacting to their bullying and so forth. Yes.
What if the person is both the bully and the rejected at the same time? So what would happen? Like, let's say, like, I already, like, don't like what my brother does, so blah, 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 and then at the same time, I get rejected from my other younger brother at the same, like, how do you change the table between both sides when you're in the middle? Even being nice, you're getting rejected, and not being nice.
Tell the parents. No, I'm just... They put them in timeout. See, in these kind of relationships, there's another talk I did a while back about toxic relationships. You need to always protect yourself. You need to always be mindful of how toxic relationship can impact you. So you need to do, again, this is a skill that you're building at the same time in parallel with the skill of protecting yourself and showing love to yourself. Protecting yourself is part of self-respect. We cannot allow people to bully us and just like, oh, I love you, give me a hug. I just really want to kiss you. It doesn't work like that. That's not who we are, and this is not how we expect to be in any relationship. But what I'm trying to say here is that even though you are in a toxic relationship, I can almost guarantee you that it's not always 100% toxic. There are some times that you can find to highlight these good things about the other person. So they can reflect, because it could be, there is a high possibility, and it's very common, by the way, there's a high possibility they are behaving that way out of coping of not being heard or not being appreciated. That's very possible. That's very common, because when we are unheard, what do? I'm sorry? Retaliate. Yeah, but it actually develops a little by little. So when we are kids, if we feel like we are unheard, we start to learn how to speak out. And when we speak out and we're still not heard, what do?
Ignore.
Well, before that. So again, we're still building.
Rebel.
We start to yell and raise our voices. We start to really be loud. And if we're loud and we're still not heard, it's not about us not heard, but it's actually we feel unheard. And therefore, what do?
Angry.
We throw a tantrum.
Yeah.
We throw a tantrum. And you throw a tantrum after tantrum, and you're still unheard. You feel unheard. What do?
Now you ignore.
You start throwing things. And you still feel unheard. You start throwing it all away. You throw out the whole relationship. You give up on it. So these little tips that I'm sharing here is really to help you to allow the other person. So if this is the person that is really throwing it all away, or throwing a tantrum, or they're being loud and yelling towards you, maybe they're just not heard. Maybe just not felt appreciated. By you saying these words, I'm really proud of you being, I know sometimes we have our difficulties, but I'm really proud to be your sister. I'm really proud to be your brother. That's it. I was like, oh, what's wrong with you today? They might say that, but that doesn't mean you need to change your language. It doesn't mean you need to change what you really want to express about this relationship. Because if this relationship means something to you, you need to say it. If you feel like you're this, at some times, like, let's say the day is how many minutes? I'm sorry, 2,000, what?
24.
24 hours? Okay, let's say that there are like, the whole 24 hours, there's 1 minute or maybe even 1 second on that day that you thought, my brother or my mom or my sister, I really like what they did. Just say that 1 second. That's the opportunity where you can nurture and maximize that 1 second to express it. Because being truthful to that 1 second, it makes a tremendous positive impact on the other person. But what happens is that the challenge in almost all of our relationships, that 1 second is buried by hours, days, years of negative yelling, negative experiencing, negative criticism from the other person. So therefore, that second is not going to survive for too long. And that's why what I'm trying to say here is that be truthful to that second, because that is a fact. All the other toxicity that you lived through and you have experienced from the other person is just a reaction from their side. So we don't want to react to negative by negative. So be truthful to yourself is really important. If you feel like there's some moments that your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, they did something, maximize on it, express it. Because that's going to make them change that thought that they had about you. Because, oh, my children are, because if I speak to parents, I'm not saying your parents, but if I were to speak to parents, they say, oh, the children are ungrateful. All the things we do, and they're just not grateful. They never said thank you. They never told us really, because everybody's quiet. Everybody's so keeping it to themselves, they're not expressing it. But if the parents started, I'm really proud that you tried. You didn't get an A, but I'm proud that you tried and give it a shot. I'm really, I feel like you really worked hard this weekend. Don't need to have a reward, just expressing that. You brought in a B- or an A- for an exam. You might be disappointed. If the parents didn't mimic that disappointment, there's a disconnect. So the parents can say, oh, that's really, you worked so hard for that. And I can see how much time you spend. Well, I can imagine this is really disappointing. but I'm proud of you that for the efforts that you put. These can go better than, those go beyond any diploma, certificate, or even master's degree in a relationship perspective. So these small little words of affirmation, I mean, just the word, it doesn't really cost a whole lot. It can nurture love in any relationships. So you can go ahead and challenge what I'm saying all you want. I hope I'm not making you tearful, emotional, but bringing memories to yourself about relationships are difficult. Plan a one-on-one with that person. If it's your parent, if it's your bully brother, if it's your, you know what? I'm inviting you for lunch. Borrow money from your parents.
What if they say no?
Take him out take him out for lunch first, and then tell him I want to do the same thing for my sibling. Yeah, suggest it to your parents. Like, can we go out for lunch? We haven't had a chance. We've been sitting and watching Netflix for all these times we're spending together, and we're watching Wednesday every week, every day. So let's do something. Every day is a Wednesday. Let's do something that you and I can have lunch together. They might not find it, acceptable, because again, the culture might not find it acceptable. They're like, okay, that's a really good idea. Hi, guys, everybody, let's go out for lunch. It's like, wait a minute, we didn't think about that. It's like, okay, that's wonderful. How about next time you and I can go along? Because that might also feel the other person awkward. So this allows the person, you have that, you don't have to talk about anything. You can have lunch, chat, talk about menu, whatever. And that allows that one-on-one time. For siblings, for those who have a partner, a romantic partner, or intimate relationship, you don't have to. People do dating, and those who are married, they do dating in the beginning, and then they forget about dates after marriage. It's like, what happened? You guys can still do a date every month. You can go out on a date. Every week you can go out on a date, but you really need to initiate that. So what happens is that we get stuck on so much negativity in the relationship. We don't maximize on those small thoughts that we have during the day in the same relationship. We do have these positive thoughts, but we don't act on it. And that's really what can, it's a missed opportunity. And that's something that we can definitely positively impact the relationship. Yes.
Does that mean like the relationship nurturing love or whatever, making it strong relationship, it doesn't have to be like saying, showing love or talking about conflict. It could be just the normal talk, normal day-to-day conversation, right?
Yeah, definitely. It can be just a normal talk about anything. Yeah. You don't even have to talk. You're just spending out. You just walk around in the park. You walk around in the neighborhood. Let's go out for a walk. You can initiate these little activities that can take you a long way. They can take this relationship much, much further than anyone else. Yes.
How about parents? When we take parents out, let's say, like, doesn't it feel awkward sometimes, or parents don't accept it at some point? They're like, why are you wasting time?
When I bought a rose for my mom and my dad, I bought them 2 roses. I bought a rose for my mom and I bought a rose for my dad. And they looked at me the weirdest look. It's like, wow. I swear to you. They were shocked out of their minds. It's like, okay. They're just shocked. It's not in my culture. It's not in the family. We don't do this. But I felt like I wanted to do it, and I did it. But it was a positive impact. And it was really good. It was really beautiful. They spoke about it even afterwards. Like, wow, we got roses from this guy. I was like, we must have done something nice.
Start to brag about it.
Well, I mean, it was a big talk in the family. It's like, but how much does it cost for a rose? So it doesn't have to be a big, like, going out for dinner or something. But it can be also circumstantial. Like, you're going out shopping with your mom. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm treating you for a cup of coffee. You're paying for it, but I'm treating you for it.
Yeah.
It's my idea. You're paying for it. But I want to spend time with you. It's like, no. It's like, I want to spend time with you. I want to just chat. I don't want to talk about shopping. I don't want to talk about food. I don't want to talk about school. I just want to sit down and talk about nothing. You can initiate that, right? If they said no, what do you do? Okay. No. can we do this next week? Can we do this tomorrow? Can we do this sometime this month? If you really want to do it, you can do it. It doesn't matter how bully your mom is, or your dad, or your husband, or your spouse, or your wife. It doesn't really matter. If you really want to make a positive impact in the relationship, you have 50% control of that. Yes.
So let's say someone buys, let's say my mom goes buys my dad a gift, but with his money, and then what if this is not like in any person's life? What if this is not like a way to show love? What if it's just the way that adds stress to the person because you spent money on something and he doesn't?
Then you need to apologize and correct it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it sometimes it might not come across understood by the other person. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, I meant it this way. Okay, I'll try to. What would work for you? You can probe and ask what would be a better way to do it, or something like that. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? Some people are very active. Some people are engaging. Some people are quiet and thinking. Some people are taking notes. And anyone you would like to share any thoughts before we end the talk? Deep thoughts, smiles, thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah. No thumbs down. Okay, good. All right. Well, with that, the talk for this week is done, and I wish you all happy relationships filled with love. And until the next talk, stay happy.
We all did it.